Welcome back. For entertainment purposes only. I would like your feedback. Take it with a pinch of salt. Here we go.
Because I got so and his my parents' close friends.
You can choose to create or manifest anything. Happily, 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 happily. If you simply are not attached to what you're creating. And creating for the joy of creating. You create for the joy of creating and not the need of getting anything. I will repeat this throughout, so repetition makes you understand it and contemplate on this more and more.
You'd be like, right, okay. I've got nothing to compare, yeah. You've got to compare it to something totally. Oh my god, how weird. Then he didn't say hello to me.
No, he just gave me that. Once we were at the Gurara.
He's always weird, yeah. He's always a bit weird how it ended, yeah.
I said hi to him. It was like a group of people.
Okay.
So hi.
Yeah.
I said, oh hi, how are you?
Yeah.
It's been so many years as well.
Get over it, yeah. Why are they so bitchy about it? It is what it is. Yeah. You should be like civil and think, right, okay.
Probably about 3 years ago.
But some people have been
married
there.
at that time.
Oh, okay.
So he's only just got married.
So I think she's married. My God, he's okay. You didn't know he did that with that. So just gradually that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He's more chilled and stuff. I just imagine. So you're doing anything else in Putsi? You're going to just see your family now?
No, just so
I'm free now, so you're going to see her.
Yeah, so I'm going to see Amrit. So I saw her yesterday, so we're working together.
Oh, that's nice, yeah. Oh, so you're working with
Yeah. So I'm in, Aviva Insurance.
Yes.
They've got an Aviva investment.
Yeah.
So they invest in property, so I'm in the legal department there.
Oh, good news. I didn't know. That's nice.
In Aviva, did you say?
Yeah, Aviva.
Diva or Aviva?
Aviva.
Oh, Aviva. Alright, because this is Aviva.
No, Aviva.
Aviva, yeah.
No.
Different company.
I'm not here checking what Aviva doing. Reporting back. No.
That's right.
Nobody else.
Just
it's the vibe. Yeah, we really are. I don't straight up. What you want to know? And I'm like, because you sound mental. You don't get it, Radical gets it. You don't understand it. It's happened when we're together.
so many women.
Yeah. So many ways. Yeah, yeah. You can add this to it. I think it's changed. So you're working from home, so you can work.
Yeah. So I've got to be 3 days a week from home.
Oh, brilliant. So at least you're doing something in law then, aren't you?
Yeah.
We'll get started shortly. Take it slowly. Yeah. Yeah, I'm alright.
That was with a young. Have you got a hat?
No, I've got this. So. Oh, it's like a hat.
There's so much stuff on there as well. You just don't know. This is the thing with sometimes there's so many weird ones.
Yeah, and there's stuff
Yeah. You just don't know. Sorry,
No, you don't worry about no. It's just, he's like, yeah, I got used to it. He's like, okay. See, I'm not saying anything. He's like, okay, next. Good. So like, if anyone is to come, I think once I went somewhere. I can't remember. Went to one of my workplaces. She met me for an evening out, and then they just kept calling, texting me, what should we do? And it's just bad because the only like really do it and I go, well, and I go, don't ever do that. And then everything that he's like, she really thinks that he keeps calling me. And then I go, right, I do not want to repeat what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. Richard, it's not funny.
No.
Tell me about the Christmas thing.
But come on, that's
No,
stupid.
Chris-
No, because
no,
for me
no,
it was
tell me.
stupid. I thought it's about
tell
the
me.
Christmas. Yeah, that's
Christmas
why. That's
what?
why.
Christmas what?
Christmas market in Victoria.
We're in the Christmas market in the Victoria together.
No, go on, like order taxi.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about, let's do some experiments, take it slowly. We're going to be talking about, firstly, we're going to be talking about, can you make a command and it come to pass?
If you've got
I
money
climb
up
only
front,
for
that's the other
the
way of
train
doing
line.
it.
Is
Trust me.
So, can you make a command and have it come to pass? Can a person, a human being, I respect all Jews and Muslims and Christians and atheists. We're not about that. We're about learning or listening to other people's viewpoints and doing experiments, learning by doing and such. This is for entertainment. So the first question I've got for you today is, does anyone have any experience, positive experience, where they have made a command for something to happen and it's happened? Let me know in the comments if you've ever made a command for anything positive to happen to yourself or someone else and it's actually happened. Does the human beings have this ability to do this? This commanding. I have a mentor. I'm an apprentice, so my mentor was telling me, and you can test this to see if it's true, or you probably know someone who's had a dream, and they believed the dream was going to happen, and they were adamant that dream they dreamt about, good or bad, was going to happen, and it happened. If anyone's got experiences like this, let me know, contact me, or leave a comment. Basically, my mentor was telling me that there are particles. So there is solid, liquid, gas, and he said this world's not physical because there are atoms, and smaller than atoms there are other things, and smaller than the electrons and all them other things is just empty space and energy. So most things are made up from empty space or energy. So a solid brick wall is compact particles, but then particles are vibrating and moving, oscillating and all that type of thing. The electrons or whatever is going round in a lot of empty space, and deep inside that, the smaller molecules, electrons or whatever they are, they're orbiting in empty space. So the majority of anything, of an atom, electron and all that, is empty space, if you agree to that. So basically, in theory, you should be able to put your hand through a wall. And I know someone who has done that with training, but I don't know if you've heard about it. But so basically, then there's so we live in this kind of hologram world where majority of everything, even physical things, majority of all physical things are just energy or empty space, because the electrons, they orbit around, they move around in majority of empty space. So, and then you've got the liquids, which is the atoms or whatever they are slightly further apart, allows for more movement. That makes liquids, if that makes sense. And then, I don't know if they teach this in America, this type of education, but then there's the gas, and gas is where the particles are even further apart. So it appears to be gas, but it's all just building blocks, like Lego building blocks. these atoms are like the Lego building blocks. So you've got the building blocks that are close together, that's solids. Got the building blocks which are further apart, that's liquids. Then you've got the building blocks mainly made out of empty space, which is further apart is gas. So basically, what is to stop, if that makes sense, if I've explained it well enough, what is to stop you from putting your hand through a brick wall? Well, apparently, correct me if I'm wrong, I could be wrong, but if there's an electromagnetic field or some mild little small currency of electricity that's stopping you from putting your hand through that wall, and the wall is even made mainly from empty space, because look, you can get a room that's all brick wall on all four corners of the room is brick walls, and yet radio waves will pass through a solid brick wall, because the majority of the solid brick wall on a molecular structure is mainly empty space that the electrons are orbiting around and swimming around in. So if these electrons and energy thingies just vibrate and oscillate and circumambulate, then everything is like empty space. Or another way of saying it is that we kind of live in like a dream world or a hologram world, where everything is really just appears physical because we have memories. But someone was saying that if you change your memory and you make your memories, your personal memories and memories about anything, if you make them more happy and you believe in the happier version, the happier memories, that's supposed to be able to change reality. Apparently all of the world is held by our consciousness. That's one theory. I won't say it's a fact, because I know a lot of people believe in the, thanks to Charles Darwin, a lot of people believe in the materialistic world view that Charles Darwin promoted, this materialistic world view of it's all material, it's all out for yourselves, no compassion, no mercy, just all out for yourself type of materialistic worldview. But there is if you look at the atoms and all that stuff, it's very, so even a brick wall or anything that appears physical like ourselves or whatever is made from these same building blocks. So the sun, the moon, myself, yourself, the stars, the other stars, yourself, myself, this wall, my house, whatever, your house, it appears to be made from multiple different things. It appears to be made from physical things, but it's actually just made from, apparently it's just actually just made from atoms. And inside the atoms is smaller things. And it's just mainly empty space inside the atoms and that, where the electrons and all that kind of swim around. So it's mainly empty space. Therefore, the majority of everything physical is actually non-physical. So it's like we live in a dream world or some kind of hologram. And apparently you can use your mind from these hermetic principles from ancient Egypt that have been passed down through secret societies throughout the thousands of years. You can use your mind and your good feelings plus to apparently alter reality. Someone was saying if you feel good, like a good feeling of love, or if you emit love, or the feeling of opulence, or the feeling of love, for 6 to 8 weeks in a row, every single day, without feeling down or bad, and you focus on an ideal, and focus on having whatever it is you want to have, like imagine whatever it is you want to have, you feel that you already have it, for 6 to 8 weeks, it should be able to manifest for some people, not for everyone, because so basically this is what we're talking about. So basically my mentor was basically saying that your mind can affect physical reality. So basically you have to have experience in these kinds of things. If you've got experience in these kinds of things, you physically experienced where you've believed something's going to happen and you're just adamant that this is going to happen, and it happened. It's your one way of saying it is that your belief, your adamant belief, has lined the particles up and everything up, and the energy and the molecules to vibrate and to make that thing happen. It's a bit more complicated than that. Maybe I'm not explaining it very well. That's my fault. It's not your fault. So basically, you can make a command. My mentor was explaining to me, you can make a command for something to happen, positive, to yourself or someone else, or you can make a command that someone else has already achieved or already has some kind of career or favor or something. And then it can turn out, and then if you believe it adamantly, and then you forget about it, you can find out that is true. It's like proving your own predictions or your own expectations true, type of thing. But it all happens on a molecular thing. They do say, things are connected. But there's only one way I can explain it all day and all night. I can explain this in more and more and more and more ways until it makes sense. I can explain it in 50 videos until it does make sense at some kind of scientific or molecular structure of how you can make a command, and that command could actually happen in real life as you said it would or has. It's more than coincidence. I could explain this over 50 videos because I'm very slow at explaining stuff and I'm very not excellent. And I can explain it scientifically, but there's an easier way to do it. It's just to give yourself the experience. Prove it to yourself. That's what science is. Science is basically where you do an experiment and then you see the results. So basically, you want to make a command for something to happen that you believe is definitely going to happen or already has happened. Something beneficial to yourself or someone else. Make a command or a belief that you can believe in, that you can adamantly, perpetually believe in, as if it was a fact. And then you basically just say, this person or yourself has or will receive such a favorment, has such a career or such a favor, or will attain such a favor by very quickly. And if that comes to pass, and if you do that enough times, then it can prove to yourself that what you're speaking and believing adamantly is making reality. Because your thoughts travel through the air, and your belief and your thoughts do affect things. This was proven on the double-blind split experiment when they had these, I can't remember if it was photons or particles, going, and the people, anyway, you research it yourself. So basically, what you believe, you see. So put that to the test and do an experiment to prove this right or prove it wrong in your own life, because you can do this. You have the power to do this. So apparently you have the ability within you innately to manifest whatsoever you choose to think about, whatsoever you choose to make a command about. You have the ability to manifest that. If you're simply not attached to what you're creating, manifesting, then you should be able to manifest it. If you're not attached to what you're creating, you should be able to manifest it. As long as you're just creating for the joy of creating, with no need to have the manifestation, with no need to be getting anything. Let's put this clearly. Not the need of getting things. Not the need of getting things. You're simply creating for the joy of creating. Not the need of getting things. You're creating simply for the joy of creating. If, when making a command, you feel really, really, really good, you feel love or some positive emotion, and you're creating, or you have the intention to create something, you're creating or manifesting, you're creating. If you're not attached to what you're creating, you can have whatever you want on the condition that you're not attached to what you're creating, and you're only creating for the joy of creating. You enjoy the process of creating. You're not creating because you need anything. No. It's not about need. What you need, you don't get sometimes. You are creating for the joy of creating, and not the need of getting things. I'll repeat that. As long as you're not attached to what you're creating, you can have what you want. You can't be attached to what you're creating. You're creating only for the pleasure, only for the joy of creating, and not the need to be getting things. I'll say that one last time. So basically, let's contemplate on what this means. What you think this means, if you can contemplate and have some brainwave cognitions. I'd like to hear your explanations of what you think this means. Because, attachment or need of anything external is the cause of suffering. You see, a child will go to the beach. When you take your children or your nephews or whatever, or when you're a child yourself, and you go to the beach with you don't want millions of pounds when you're a child, usually. When you're on the beach, you just want a bucket and a spade. and you get building all kinds of things because you're creating just for the joy of creating. You're not trying to get anything. You don't need the manifestation. You don't need it. You're not attached to it. You're not attached to the manifestation. Once you've built that sandcastle or moat or castle or whatever, you don't really care too much that the tide is going to come and wipe it out. You're not attached to having it. You're not attached to having. You're not attached to having it. Oh yeah, come on. Basically, apparently, my mentor was teaching me. He was trying to give me some cognitions. Because when you hear something, they make you go through repetition. That's how you try and get a cognizance from it. You come to your own conclusions about what this information means by listening to it over and over again. So basically, my mentor taught me this week, you can choose to create or manifest anything in your life. Well, he taught me this many years ago, but he's said it to me again. My mentor basically said to me that you can choose to create anything in your life if you simply are not attached to what you're creating. You're just creating for the joy of creating and not the need of getting anything. Now, if someone can explain to me what that means in their own understanding, wow, you're very intelligent. You've cracked the code there, basically. It takes a lot of cognizance, a lot of thinking to understand this. Or I must be daft, because... let's move on to some other topic now. In the olden days, peace be upon all the prophets and all that type of thing, regardless if you have a religion or if you have a belief in anything or not. Basically, the people like Jesus and all them type of people, Jesus, when he did some miracle, it was usually a miracle, a positive miracle, and he usually just made a command. He didn't beg, he didn't plead, he didn't say, please manifest this. Oh, I need this to happen. I need to walk on water. Oh, I need to do these things. No, he didn't have any attachment. He didn't need it to happen. He didn't need anyone to get healed. He wasn't attached to he didn't have an attachment or a need. He just made a command. And stuff happened. Unlimited amount of miracles happening. And in them days, of course, there was no Mercedes G63 AMGs knocking about. So he would have travelled on a donkey and all them kind of things. But, that's what it were. So basically, yeah. Do we create our own lives by the words that we think, the thoughts that we think, our positive feelings, and commanding? Who do we listen to? Do we have a willingness to accept change and all this type of stuff? Anyway, next topic. Basically, the theory in a nutshell, even though I'm not a professional scientist and I can't be bothered to go into all the science of it, because science is always changing, isn't it? When more scientific things are being released for the public knowledge and all that type of thing. But basically, the theory behind the science is that if the world that we live in, as I've explained with the atoms, whether atoms are close together or far apart, they're mainly full of empty space, with electrons flying around in that empty space inside the atoms. So everything is made mainly of empty space. Therefore, it's very malleable. And if our brains, our thoughts, and our commands and everything's vibrating. So if our thoughts and our commands and our feelings can transmit into the ether, into the space, into the fresh air, just like radio waves do, then we can, in theory, manipulate physical reality and command it to be as we would benefit from. It's no point moving a mountain, because that won't put a single dollar into your bank account if you move a mountain, and no one's going to believe you, even if you did move a country or a mountain, because you commanded it to happen and it happened. Number one, if you tell people that you moved a mountain or a country, they're gonna not like you telling them that, because if they haven't done it and you've done it, then they're not going to be happy about that. Number two, they're not going to believe you. But it even says in the Bible, if you have something says in the Bible about if you have a mustard seed of faith, you can command the mountain to move and go into the sea, and it will obey your command. Mountain is a physical thing, supposed to be solid, and your words or your commands can actually move and do changing physical reality. So there is a science behind that I'm briefly going through the science on it, that things aren't solid as they seem, that they are movable, vibrating, everything's vibrating, all the atoms and molecules, they are moving around, vibrating, and if you can attune your feelings and your thoughts and your commands to the right, what's the word? Nuance, transmission. You can send out a signal to have what you want. But more specifically, you're not wanting it. It's a feeling of having it, is it? Well, there's a bit more to it than that. There's a lot to learn, but I'm sure someone out there, please comment if you've got any experience of adamantly believing something's going to happen, adamantly, and it does happen, and it did happen, or having a dream or if someone's had a dream that you're adamantly believed was going to happen, and it did happen in real life. If anyone's got any experiences like that, do make a comment, because apparently your command or your believing that something's gonna happen, or someone's gonna attain something, or someone has attained something, a career, a relationship, or something, it can make it happen in real life. So this is the theory behind all the quantum science type of application. A lot of science nowadays, there's no application to it. It's just, that's science and that's it. But how do you apply it in real life? That is the question. Now, there are ley lines. Basically, in the olden days, there were druids, weren't there? And there were basically the old French, and there was all these type of people. And in certain places, such as in Paris, and on other ley lines, on ancient sites, ancient mosques, and ancient different synagogues, and ancient different, all kinds of pyramids, and all kinds of places like that. They were built specifically on places with an energetic anomaly, where the energy there, you can get a special meter reading, is a different energy, different electricity in the air, different, it's like a, and basically apparently when in the olden days, when you went in the the grand mosques with which have domes on them, or the grand churches which have domes on them. It's the dome shape, isn't it? Acts like some kind of amplifier in the church or the mosque or the synagogue or whatever type of ancient building. It's the shape of the dome. Is that not when you're on your own, but when you have a group of people there and they have a good intention and they put their intention out in Paris, for example, in the church, and the church has got a big dome, and they all put the same intention out and it's a good intention, it sends that out with more power because that intention, because the molecules and all them things and all the atoms and that, which are mainly made from empty space, they vibrate when you put this positive intention out, and it causes things to happen in the real world, sometimes quickly, sometimes already, sometimes on in a specific amount of time. But yeah, that's a technique. What they have is that basically there are pyramids and churches and mosques and synagogues and all these type of things, really ancient ones, and druids and all these other type of religions and things. They mainly all built the massive churches and temples and mosques on energetic ley lines, places on the earth which had a different frequency, a higher energy, just naturally on that part of the world. It's where ley lines of energy runs and type of thing is amplified in them areas. And what they used to do is they would go into church with a big dome in the olden days, and it doesn't work so much when you're on your own making a prayer or a command or something or a wish, whatever it is. But when you're in a group of people in the big church in Paris or somewhere on a ley line, on a pyramid or something, on a ley line where there's naturally more energy in that place of nature, that's why they built the mosques and the churches and the Druid temples and the pyramids. They built them at specific locations on the earth, because them locations where they built them and where they stand and where they are, these massive dome temples and pyramids and these type of things and minarets and all that type of thing, they're built specifically, the ancient ones, on energy ley lines where the energy is greater and more amplified, than on other places on the earth. So there are energy hotspots on the earth, like one is in Paris, and it's just, you've got a big dome. You're supposed to, in the olden days, what they do is they come into the church or the temple where the big dome is, on the energy ley line, or the pyramids, or wherever this energy ley line is, and they'd make a prayer or a command or a wish. All of them would make the same wish, the same command, something positive, something beneficial, and that had more power to the command for it to happen in real life. So that's something that we can consider to do. That'd be nice if we could all meet up, some of us in Paris, and do that at some point, if you're interested. So I love Spain. I love it. I love Andalusia. I must say, I absolutely love Andalusia. I'd like to do next video. I'd like to do a topic on Andalusia, the history of Spain, and all that type of thing. I'd like to go through that on the next episode. So I've been to Spain a lot, and at first I didn't like it, but as my wife took me back there again and again and again, and we went more and more, I just liked it more and more and more and more and more. Because when you tell yourself, oh, I don't believe this, I'm going to turn myself off to it, or I don't like this, I'm going to turn myself off to it. You turn yourself off to it before you even get to the place. But that's the thing. When you tell yourself, I'm going to like something, I'm going to enjoy this movie, I'm going to enjoy this thing, I'm going to enjoy this country, I'm going to enjoy Spain, then when you go there, you're expecting to enjoy it. you kind of do enjoy it more. So the next lesson, or the next thing to consider, to have a cognizance about, is the fact that in the real world, or in the everyone lives in their own world, basically, don't they? Everyone lives in their own version of reality, according to what their religious belief or belief is, according to their own personal beliefs as well, and so on and so forth. And but what we're talking about, we're basically saying that violence doesn't really achieve much or anything. It's not the solution. And if you want solutions, there are many energetic solutions. As we've gone through today briefly, we've explained that everything, every atom, is energy, mainly empty space and energy. So we live in an energetic world, appearing physical. So we basically live in a spiritual world, appearing physical. So another way of saying it is that we live in a molecular world, appearing physical, or we live in a spiritual world, appearing physical. Or another way of saying it is that we live in a molecular world of mainly empty atoms with energy parts, energy electrons and such in them, floating around in the. It's all electric. It's like it's mild electricity, isn't it? Electrons. It's mild electricity. So basically, everything is kind of electric, as if we're living in some kind of computer game that is like very realistic. And people don't like to hear that. People, especially those who believe in the Darwinian version of, like to believe that everything's materialistic, and that we're basically animals, and that we're all just violent, and we're all basically out for ourselves, which now science is saying something else. I'm not disputing that, but I'm saying science progresses, and science is now saying that the world that we thought was physical isn't very physical. It just appears physical. It's even atoms. Everything's made out of atoms. These Lego blocks, atoms type of things, and they've got mainly empty space in them. And then they've got they've got little electrons and all that type of thing, electricity circulating through them, and circulating mainly through empty space, and that's the basic atom. So basically, almost everything is empty space and electricity. Does it remind you of a computer game, electricity? So the only reason that my hand is not going through this wall now, and the only reason why my hand is not going through this solid wall now, is because there is an energetic field on the surface of the wall, which is basically preventing, which my hand is touching. Now, if you practice and meditate, I did hear the guy in America, someone did put his hand through a wall because he'd been meditating, and he just managed to move the electrons and such away so he could put his hand through the wall. But that's beyond where I'm at the minute. So don't get me wrong, I've done a lot of things. I've done many things in my life that may seem excellent, but I've not put my hand through a wall. I know the X-Men and all them type of thing is based on reality. Where do you think they get these ideas for Highlander and X-Men from? It's based off special people with special gifts that can interact with this world that appears physical, but it's not really physical. That's how they can interact with it in ways that appear supernatural. So, next episode is going to be all about Andalusia, I think. So this episode was just basically an introduction to something to contemplate on about the nature of the world that we seem to live in. And just a brief explanation before we get onto the other episodes. So basically, So the last thing I'm going to leave you with on this particular episode, episode 2, is that violence is not the answer. Violence and retaliation just makes more retaliation, from that side, and then that side must avenge and make more retaliation, and just violence is not the answer. So if violence is not the answer, and there's a Chinese saying which is, if you keep on doing the same things and thinking the same things, thinking the same way and doing the same things and not making any changes in your life or your thinking, or not really contemplating and changing your viewpoints, or thinking about what someone said and how you can understand it in your own terminology, in your own language, in your own manner, then basically if you expect different results, you're insane. That's an old Chinese saying, basically. So basically, violence is not the answer. So what is the answer? There are many energetic potential solutions to more increased world peace and love and understanding. That are more energetic. Now we've realized that ourselves, our bodies, thoughts, they're all energy. Now we've realized that our body is energy. It's made from atoms, which are mainly empty space and energy, electricity, and so is the wall, and so is all other things, even the sea and the sun and the moon. It appears to be made of all these different things, materials, but it appears to be materialistic. But on a molecular structure, it's not. It's mainly just empty space and electricity. Electrons floating around empty space. A lot of empty space in these atoms. So that's what it is on a molecular structure. Though when we see it with our eyes, it appears to be physical, but it's more electric than anything. Like a hologram or a computer game, I wouldn't go that far. Maybe that's too far for you to contemplate today. But we're in this game, and we're here to win. So the best way to win is to have a win-win solutions. In effect, violence is not the answer. So there's many things going on in the past around the world, and violence is not the answer. So an alternative to violence, because violence just makes more violence. It just makes retaliation. So we all want solutions. Jews want. I like certain Jews. Why not? I like certain Muslims. I like certain atheists. I like certain Christians. I like certain Wiccans. I don't mind. I get along with people. But the thing is, we need peace. Though we all talk in different terminologies, and we have to understand each other. We have to contemplate and understand each other a bit better. That retaliation is not not going to be the answer, is it? Violence cannot be the answer. So there must be energetic solutions, or possibly there must be energetic solutions. If we live in an energetic world, appearing physical, there must be energetic solutions. There are many potential energetic solutions, one of which is going into these big domed mosques and churches and praying for peace and changing your viewpoint on other peoples who have different religions, different beliefs, different things. Understand that we're trying to say the same thing or similar things, but with different words, different terminologies. So that's, a joint intention of peace, where many people gather on the ley lines in big dome places, and they make positive intentions together, positive commands, positive peaceful outcomes, as if peace had already been reached, as if everyone's already feeling peace towards each other. Zero resentment, zero retaliation, just peace and forgiveness and love towards each other. Yeah, that could possibly change circumstances. If it has, it has. So next episode, this is just a brief introduction. This second episode is just a brief introduction to the basics. But next episode is all about Andalusia. And the story continues.